Hi, this is Tom Watson with Init to Winit. Today we're getting ready and we're preparing to go to Talladega short track. We're going to be preparing some tires today, so I'm going to take you through all the steps of how to take and mount some tires, how to go ahead and buff them out, get them prepped up. We're going to be doing some practice time, so we're going to use some older tires for the practice, but we're going to go ahead and prep those things so they'll be working for us almost as good as new. What we've got here is a set of tools. We've got a grinder for doing our buffing. We've got WD-40 here to lube up the rim whenever we're mounting the tires up. Okay, I want you to get a closer look at these heads. We've got a number 1 grooving head, and as you can see, it's quite thin. It's very actually pretty close to being a sipe. We've got a number 2 grooving head, and I personally never go over a number 2 for a groove. We got the one from Kaiser, which has multiple blades in it. Take a look at that thing. Plenty of blades in there. You can do as close to sipes as you want to get with those blades. And then kind of for my standard siping, I'll use a number 4 head with a blade on it to do the sipes, just a regular type sipe. We want to do these when we really want to heat the tires up, because siping will cause the tire to heat up faster, whereas grooving, whenever you put grooves in it, will tend to make the tire run a little bit cooler, but give you more edges to grip on the track. The needler, what it does for you is it puts little fine little holes in it, and it causes the tire to heat up rather quickly, like whenever you first start out. And then once it gets heated up pretty good, then those little fine little holes made by a needler will go ahead and seal over. Not that the whole tire will seal over, but it'll just take those little needler holes and kind of close those up. So what we want to do is strike a balance between the grooving and the siping, so that we heat the tire up relatively quickly to start with, but we don't want the tire to overheat, so we don't want to overdo it with the siping. However, if we want to do like just set up a set of tires for doing qualifying, then we want to sipe those tires pretty good, get them to heat up really quick, and we wouldn't care if they lasted for more than a couple laps, because that's all we want to do with them whenever we're setting up a set of qualifying tires. What's really good is this little buffer over here. I use a 36 grit flap disc to use on the buffer and to buff the tires off. So let's get to it. So the first thing that we've got to do is go ahead and break these tires down. We're going to take the tires off of the rim, get the newer tire on, which is really a used tire. We're going to put that on the rim and mount that up, and then we'll show you how to do all the buffing, siping, prepping to go with that. First thing we want to do is take and remove these bolts holding the lock ring in. Then what we'll do is we'll take and spray a little bit of this WD-40 up on the back side of the tire, on the rim area, where it'll slide off a little bit easier. What's going to happen to the tire is that going down the track is it's going to wear at an angle. So you want to find which is the high side of the angle. Take and put that high side of the angle towards the outside of the track. So we're going to take and make this tire right here a right rear. So the high side of this tire is here. So we'll want to take and put this high side to the outside. So that's how we're going to put it onto this rim. Wet the rim a little bit with some WD-40 and wet the inside tire. And take and place it over the rim. Press it down with your hands, and it will just kind of fall into place. Start it down just to get it lined up into place. Now I'm going to show you a little trick here that I like to do, is to take a little bit of this ARP Ultra Torque thread lube. Just apply a little bit of the ARP thread lubricant to the threads before you put them in there. We'll take and set our impact gun down on low. That's what I like about these little DeWalt's. They have a high and a low on them. Now when I'm airing the tires up, I like to use a locking chuck. That way I can just put it on the tire and walk away from it and let it expand up, and then I can hear it whenever it seats up on there. So we use this little locking chuck to do that with. Get a closer look at this little locking chuck. Nice little mechanism, not too much. I like to have one around. As we can see, it's seated up here on the back side, so we can stop putting the pressure in it. Okay, so what we will do next is we will take and grind the tires. We want to have some safety glasses on, and we also want some ear protection for the sound of the grinder while it's going on. It may not be much, but over time it will result in hearing loss from you not using hearing protection around power equipment. So take a good look at this tire surface right here. Like I said, this is a used tire. We're preparing it up to use for some practice rounds. As you can see, the tire surface looks like it's glazed over a little bit. Going to need some grinding and buffing to get it ready, and we're also going to sipe it up pretty good and re-groove the tire to prepare it for practice sessions. Now what we want to do with the grinder is that you notice, like I told you before, the tire, as it wears in this direction. This was the outside of the tire before, and it wore the tire off this way, putting high sides on this side of the tire. So now this is going to be the outside of the tire towards the outside of the track. This is going to be a right rear that we're going to set this up for. And now we got these here. So what we want to do as we grind is we want to grind from this direction to the outside of the track. Because the thing is, when we got the grinder in our hands, we have a natural tendency to like angle the grinder blade downwards like this as we're grinding. So we want to take advantage of that and kind of go along with this idea of putting these high sides towards the outside, which will give it some extra grip. Initially with the tires, it starts to do its initial wear. We'll have that little edge to kind of help us out. And that's what we're looking for, is to have edges on the tire to grip the track. Okay, take a look at this thing now after we've done the buffing. This tire is already starting to get tackier, and as you rub your hand across it, you can feel it kind of tacking up, and you can see new rubber starting to appear underneath the glaze. So you just got to take that top glaze off, get down to some new rubber. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to groove the tire. As you can see on these grooves right here, there's still a little bit more rubber to go down in here. So what we'll do is we'll take that little bit right there and make the tire appear like it's a fresher tire with deeper grooves on it. Okay, we got our grooving iron plugged in. We just need to let it warm up a bit before we start grooving the tires. What we want to do is take and mark where we start at grooving, so that way we don't waste any more time than necessary. As we come around, we'll know that that's where we started at on the tire for grooving. So what we want to do is just go ahead and re-groove these things all the way across, just taking that little bit extra little bit of rubber out of the grooves. As you can see here, it took like little thin pieces of rubber right out from the middle of those grooves, and that's what we're wanting to do, is just make it just a little bit deeper than it was before. Just give us a little bit higher block on each one of the blocks. Okay, now that we've got through grooving it across this way, then we'll take and recut all the grooves going the long ways of the tire. So then we'll cut through each one of these too. Now you can really see here where we've started to like pull some rubber up between these grooves, and that's what we're wanting to do, is make this one a little bit deeper also, so we'll have more of a flexible edge there that will give us more of an edge to bite into the track. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and sipe the tire, and we're going to sipe the tire this way. Since it's a rear tire, we're going to sipe it this way so it'll get grip going forward. Okay, so the next thing we were going to do is take and needle the tire. So the way that we do this is we just go along with the tread this way, and we just have our mark where we started to tell us where to stop. Just work it across the tread like this. Put a little pressure on it. Just keep working the tire around like this till we get the full amount of the tire. Okay, now that we've worked all day and gotten us 4 tires together, essentially it takes about anywhere from an hour to 2 hours prepping up a tire, grinding it, grooving it, siping it, everything. And here is all 4 of our tires prepped up and ready to go for practice. I'll let you get a closer look at these. This is the right rear tire that we were working on. Got siping all the way through it in this direction from left to right, so as the tire is going around, it'll catch on each one of these lips that's created by the sipes. Get an idea of what the bottom tire here is. The left rear tire, it's been grooved and siped also, same directions. It's also on this one got some side ones this way to kind of catch the tire as it's if it tries to slide out at all, so to keep the rear end from sliding out. we put some sipes going this way on the left rear tire. Here we have the right front tire. As you can see, the grooves kind of go at an angle on these, so you want to have your grooving at an angle for the front tires. I did each of these here. I did this with the number 2, and this with a sipe. So it's sipe, not quite as fine of a sipe, but sipe here, and then put these smaller grooves here on either side. And then I did the same thing going this way, and broke this block up a pretty good bit so that these tires will definitely make a lot of grip. They won't go like a large number of laps, but for practice time, typically you get maybe 8-10 laps, maybe 12 laps for a practice. So these tires will work just fine for that. And then here's our left front tire. This one's got a definite tread pattern to it. Want to get a lot of edges there for it to work on for the left front, because the left front tire is probably the least worked of all 4 of the tires, just because of the fact that we're making left-hand turns all the time. So there you have it, 4 tires prepped up and ready to go to Talladega short track. All right, so the next thing that we'll want to do is clean the rims. So we're going to do that with this Eagle One rim cleaner. It's got a little bit of an acid base in it, so it'll clean the rims really good. The thing is, you got to wash it off like really quickly whenever you spray it on there. Then you have to get it sprayed off like right away. So just spray it on, and then we'll take a scrub brush and scrub around. Get all the grease and everything off of it. And there we have it. Clean rim relatively quickly. Thank you so much for joining in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next session.